Hi, boys and girls. We're going to work on Lesson 7, Problem Set. And we are working on interpreting the unknown in a multiplication and division problem to model and solve problems. So when we're talking about the unknown, we're talking about letters representing the unknown, which is called a variable. So number 1 says match the words to the correct equation. When you see the word match in directions, that means you're drawing a line to match things, okay? So the first one says a number times 6 equals 30. We need to make sure that the sentence that we are choosing over here matches this phrase exactly. So we want to have a number. We don't know what that number is. Times 6 equals 30. So I'm looking for something times 6 equals 30, and right there it is. So we have n, the unknown, times 6 equals 30. The next one says 7 times a number equals 42. 7 times a number equals 42. That one is right here. 7 times a number, it reads exactly the way the phrase does. The next one says 6 times 7 equals a number. So we know 6 and 7 equals a number. That is right here. Boys and girls, go ahead and pause the video and match the last 3 and come back and check your work. Boys and girls, hopefully you did the last 3 just like this. Let's take a look at number 2. Number 2 says write an equation to represent the tape diagram below and solve for the unknown. So we need to interpret the tape diagram. This is why at the very beginning of the year it was so important for us to learn the parts of a tape diagram. We know that down here is the total. So we don't know the total right now. That's what that letter represents. What we do know is that each of the units is 8. And we also know that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those units. Now let's solve for K. K is equal to, you can either count 8 times by 6, you can count 6 times by 8, you can draw a picture for yourself, you can go back and look at your multiplication table. Go ahead and pause the video and figure out what 8 times 6 or 6 times 8 is equal to. Did you figure out that it is 48? Very good. Let's move on to number 3, and we're going to look all the way down at letter D together. Let's look at letter D. It says, Ginny measures 6 milliliters of water into each beaker. A beaker is kind of like a scientific pitcher that you use to pour liquid in. She pours a total of 54 milliliters. How many beakers does Ginny use? Now, the directions say model each problem with a drawing. So I'm going to use a tape diagram. Then we need to write an equation using a letter to represent the unknown and solve for the unknown. So I'm going to use a tape diagram. And I know that in each beaker we put 6 milliliters. I know that we have a total of 54 milliliters. So the equation I can write from this tape diagram is 54 milliliters divided by 6 milliliters in each beaker equals some number of beakers. I don't know how many yet, right? If I go look on my chart, or I count by sixes until I get to 54, I'm going to find out that I have 9 beakers. Boys and girls, make sure that you have all of your problems completed. You're going to move on to your homework problems when you're finished with this.